Here we have an individual named John, and John could be described as a fuckboy. Let's see why. John spends 5 out of the 7 days of his week consumed by a passionless, joyless job that does little more for him than provide a nice paycheck. When John isn't working, he spends most of his free time on social media, dating apps, Netflix, or simply just by watching porn. During these moments, his only commitment is to his lusts, particularly to the lust of submitting himself towards life's temporary distractions, as they help to manage his anxiety and rid him of his boredom. Lastly, when those distractions aren't hitting like the way he needs them to hit, and a bit of the anxiety or boredom slips through the cracks of his defenses, he turns to his last defense mechanism: women. You see, John has never done any personal development work, so he clings on to his sexual relationships with women. Instead of seeing others as thinking, breathing, feeling autonomous individuals deserving of respect and care, he sees them more as objects to be used for his own enjoyment. This is true for all of his relationships, but especially his relationships with women. Due to this, he's forever imprisoned by his sexual compulsions, doomed to forever walk nose to ground sniffing for pussy, never being able to truly connect intimately with others, and instead forever hoping that this time, the next girl he finds on Tinder is able to give him the fuck of his life, and finally satiate his lustful desires, fulfill all of his fantasies, and give him the love and intimacy he mistakenly believes sex is going to give him. So, let's look at what would happen if John was able to stop for a second, reflect on his life, and open himself up to looking at his regrets. The girl from Tinder is gone, and John has found himself in a very familiar situation. The girl was good and did indeed give John the fuck of his life. He was satisfied for a moment, maybe even 2, but that satisfaction soon faded away, and this reopened the door to the feelings he was trying to avoid. The life of deadness, emptiness, and boredom that he tried to use sex to cover up came rushing back. John, typically in a hurry to dispel this rush of anxiety, reaches for his phone, ready to queue up the next girl from Tinder and restart the whole mating process again. But something's different about today. John has instead decided to sit within his thoughts and feelings and let his boredom reign free for a moment. He finds that through engaging with his boredom, he is experiencing a distraction-free state, which has given way to revealing underlying unpalpable truths about his existence. John starts to think about his life and realizes that he spent most of his adult life conscious only of his job, his money, his entertainment, and of course, the sweet nectar of a woman's lips. Anxiety starts to creep in as John starts to realize something is amiss. He's made a bad bargain and has spent a majority of the only life he has fucking and sucking, chasing after pussy, binging on alcohol, food, drugs, and endless hours of social media, and working a mindless job. He's given up all his life's possibilities for brief fixes that end up only causing him to feel shame and even more dead and empty inside. The waters of regret start to rush in as John is pierced by one thought in particular. If he was to die today, what would be written on his tombstone? What would be the phrase that perfectly encapsulates the theme of his life? He thinks to himself for a second. What best describes him and the life he's chosen to live? Then the phrase hits him. He liked to fuck. A phrase so on point in describing his life, yet so simple that it could be used to describe the life of a dog.